Hey folks, this is Jason Lewis, the producer of the From the Shadows podcast. I just want to remind you about our website, fromtheshadowspodcast.com. We have a Facebook page. We would appreciate it if you like and follow. Also, join our discussion group on Facebook called After the Shadows. We have a Twitter feed. Please follow us on Twitter. It can be found with @podcast_from. Follow us on Instagram at From the Shadows Podcast. We have a YouTube channel. Go to the search bar at YouTube and put From the Shadows Podcast, and please subscribe to that channel. We are also on the Odyssey Radio Network, and we can be found there at odyssey1.com. We're still on the traditional podcatchers that everybody loves to listen to us on. We get a lot of feedback, so please rate the podcast and communicate with whether you're on Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or Google Podcasts. We're there, and we appreciate it when you leave comments for us. We also have a Patreon page. It can be found at www.patreon.com/FromTheShadows. You can receive books, stickers, coffee mugs, and special content just for our Patreon subscribers. Check it out for yourself and see what packages that we have to offer. Well, that's all I have for you right now, folks, and thanks for being a part of the From the Shadows podcast family. So with that being said, let's get this episode started.
So, Howler.
Yeah.
Every day I'm out on the mail route and I see some people have some strange pets. Okay. In fact, there's one day I got up on somebody's porch, was putting mail in the mailbox, and I heard the bleating of a little lamb. And I turned around and somebody had a lamb as a pet in town. I won't even go into hearing the rooster crow on Reed Street in Bucyrus. Somebody's got a rooster in their backyard in town. So I can't imagine what you got out there in your neck of the woods that people have for pets.
Well, it's funny you say that, because it seems the last few years people have been enthralled with chickens, right? I mean, everywhere you go, people are raising their own eggs, or they got brown eggs for sale.
My girls raised chickens.
When I was in Minneapolis, they had passed the city ordinance you could have chickens, but you couldn't have roosters. And now, now a lot of towns you got chickens, but not roosters. But when I was growing up, my grandma, not only did she have chickens, but she had guineas and turkeys and guinea. I would have guineas right now, but I'm afraid my bird dogs would kill them. But I had a funeral this weekend, and I run into my cousins. Now I got some cousins that, they're the real deal when it comes to country boys. And the story I'm about to tell is his story, and I begged him to be on the podcast, but he does not. He just won't do it. You know what I mean? He won't do it. He's afraid. He's sitting there. I'm sitting at a table with 2 or 3 cousins. We're all cousins, right?
Yeah.
And he's told the story. He's told the story up at the front of my aunt is laying in an open casket, and he tells this story. I don't know how he got into the story, but so he tells a story, and as he's winding up the story, I'm getting there, so I don't get the whole thing. So they wanted to retell it. So he retold it after the funeral over dinner. He told me that 2/3 of the story until I told him I wanted to be on the podcast. He said, "Man, I don't. You have people out there making fun of me all over the country, and I don't know if I can handle that." And I said, first of all, you don't know, right?
Yeah. I think he's giving us way too much credit.
Right. And I told him, I said, there's a lot of people that are driving a crappy car to a crappy job, and the 5 or 10 minutes they listen to a good story, you've helped them out, right? I said, so for your fellow man, you need to tell the story.
That's right.
And he says, man, I don't think I can do it. So sitting right next to him is a cousin. And I said, how many times, Brandon, have you heard the story? And he said, I've heard it 15 times. I said, you can tell it just as good. And he said, I think I can tell it just as good. I said, good. This is the way the entertainment business works. I'm just going to have him tell your story. And that kind of caused a little brouhaha. So, but I'm going to try to tell it. And I'm hoping I can get it because I can't do it. Right. I can't do it. You know, I play a redneck on TV, but when you hear a real country orator or country philosopher, they're just better at it. You know what I mean? They're just better at it.
So there's somebody in your family better than you at being a country or orator.
There's 15 or 20. I mean, I got an uncle that, that could opine with, I mean, he would be I don't even know who he would be because there's nobody
He's
out
like
there.
He's like the Will Rogers.
Oh, well, but he met a lot of people he didn't like. That's the problem. He never met a woman he didn't like. That would be his handle. You know what I mean? He never met a woman he didn't like. And
are you glad I didn't say Roy Rogers?
Well, you know, I know the difference between the two of them. You know, so yeah, you know, I was just down at Will Rogers. I was in Oklahoma a couple weekends ago down at downtown Oklahoma City hanging out, but that's a whole nother story. So this is a story. He owns 40 acres. There's a bunch of federal U.S. Forest Service. The Mark Twain National Forest runs right through the middle of Missouri. And back in the old days when they were compiling this land, you could sell it to the government or keep it. And the smart people kept these little plots of land. You know what I'm saying? So he's got 40 acres that's been in his family for quite a while. I mean, his mother is my dad's little sister. But he's got 40 acres surrounded by U.S. Forest Service ground. Thousands of acres of it. And he's at the very end of the road. So right next to his property, the feds built this parking lot. You know, so people can drive all the way down there and park and they hunt and they mushroom hunt and they forest walk and they do whatever they do, right? So he's got this big white tame turkey. And I'm throwing it out there right off the bat that it's a white turkey. But it's a white tame turkey. And I'm sure some of you guys know what a big domestic turkey would look like a giant chicken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he
exactly.
loves his turkey. Yeah, you know what I mean? He's got animals out in the yard, and he's feeding chickens and turkeys, and you know, he's got a couple of horses and a mule and some hogs or whatever, you know, just a country guy. And he gets out there to feed that turkey one morning, last spring, well, you know, 6-8 months ago. And usually that turkey's Johnny on the spot right there at the porch. But he could hear it gobbling right down out of the yard, kind of down in the woods, and it's going away from him. And it's going toward this parking lot. And he, about the time he realizes what's happening, kaboom! Somebody's done shot his pet turkey.
Oh, gee. And it wasn't Thanksgiving? Or what?
No, it's spring turkey season. And what happened is some urban hunters have come out there and decided they're going to take up turkey hunting. They buy a turkey tag, a turkey call, and a shotgun. And that's how easy it is out there, right? You just drive it into the road. You hear this turkey. This old boy gets out there and calls a little bit. And he's so new to this turkey hunting. His girlfriend's in the car. So my cousin runs out there in a pair of flip-flops and pajamas and gets in a confrontation with this gal in the car about her boyfriend. He's flying off the handle because his precious turkey that he has raised from a poult has now been viciously murdered out there. And he is causing such a ruckus, the guy with the shotgun won't approach him or his own car. Does that make sense? My crazy cousin is up there at his car saying, "You just shot my effing turkey." And this guy is saying, "Buddy, I'm out here turkey hunting. I don't know, you know, it's a turkey." He said, "It's an effing white turkey." And the guy says, "Well, I thought it was albino." And then my cousin, you know, just how fucking stupid are you? You know what I mean? It's a white turkey. So I guess the girlfriend scooted over in the car. My cousin's trying to he's got a flip phone. He don't have a smartphone. He's got a flip phone. He's trying to call 911. He can't get it to work. This guy wants to leave, but my cousin won't let him. The girlfriend slides over and she's going to drive off, and my cousin beats on the window and said, don't drive away, lady. My girlfriend's got you in my sights on my deer rifle right now. So she called 911 and said, hey, I'm out here. My boyfriend shot this turkey, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, of course, the cops heard, the deputies heard it was my cousin's address, and they've had a few meetings with him before, so they know where it's at. And they drove down there. They actually didn't really want to drive, and they sent the game warden down there. And they ended up having to, and the guy didn't approach. Now, this guy's armed with a shotgun. He's killed his turkey. He will not even approach the park and come into the parking lot all the way or approach his car because he's so scared of my cousin standing there going off the deep end on it. But killing this pet turkey. Clyde was the turkey's name. Clyde was the turkey's name. Yep. And and I can't. That's the abbreviated version. I can't tell the good version because, he tells it a lot better than me. I'm just telling his story, and it's hard to tell somebody else's story. So the game warden, what they ended up doing is they told this old boy, hey, you just shot a domestic animal, and you're going to have to pay restitution. I think they gave him $150 or what he's supposed to pay. And that guy was mad about it. The turkey hunter was mad because he thought he was genuinely killing a real turkey. I mean, he was going to be turkey hunter. And he shot this tame turkey, belonging to my cousin. That's kind of stuff happens out here. I mean, people think it's the cakewalk out here in the country. Those people in town, they think, well, I'm going to buy 40 acres and move out there to the country and live a peaceful life. And you can't because you never know when somebody's going to come in and shoot your turkey or something. When I was a kid, my old man had jackasses. I don't know if I ever told you guys that or not. But my old man had jackasses mules.
Yeah.
Opening one of the deer season when I was about I was 11 or 12 years old. The neighbor shot one of my old man's mules. And I never could figure out, it was right next to the fence, how they can mistake a big old sorrel mule like that.
What did they think they were shooting?
They never come back over to the land. I mean, they never come up and said, I shot the mule. I don't know if they thought they were shooting a deer. Now, personally, I think they shot it maliciously because they didn't realize the morning brays every morning were jackasses, not mules. Because mules don't bray as much as a jackass. You got a good jackass, they're like a rooster every morning. And so I think these naive people shot a mule thinking they were shooting a jackass. So the brays never went away. But I have never forgotten. You just don't know. These folks come out here to the country and want to just do whatever, and it's wild out here. It's wild. But we ain't got Antifa.
Oh God! Hey, well, for our listeners all over the world, there is a difference between a regular turkey that you eat for Thanksgiving and one that's a wild turkey. So
domesticated and a wild turkey. There's a difference.
Well, there's wild turkeys that are domesticated, but you don't have them as pets.
Right.
Yeah.
It all depends. All depends on the size of the corn pile you're feeding them from.
Yeah, bro, that's right. And my cousin was starting to tell that story that first time. I barely heard part of it. I thought, well, maybe it was just I thought it was a wild turkey that he was feeding and made it so tame. Because some people out here, what they'll do is they'll feed these deer, and the deer won't be scared of people. And then first time deer season rolls around, bow season, some kid goes and shoots it. You know what I mean? Right. I thought it was be one of them deals, and I said, it was a wild turkey that you were just feeding. He said, no, it was a big white one.
that'd be like going squirrel hunting in a park where the old guy sits on the bench and feeds squirrels all day.
Right.
Yeah. Terrible.
That's right.
Terrible.
That's right.
Hey, so the moral of the story is when you get your hunting license and you go out to the country, know what you're shooting at, right?
Well, hey, the moral of the story is if it's too easy to be true, it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's too easy to be true, it is.
And that goes for life in general.
That's right. Love or turkeys. If it's too easy to be, if it's too easy, it could be true. It usually is. But too easy, it's probably not right.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the From the Shadows podcast. Until next time, Never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.